Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I have a really exciting video planned. I want to talk about the latest book app that I found that I've been really enjoying, and it is Pagebound. So for those of you who don't know, I currently use Fable as my primary form of tracking books. I do have a bullet journal that I write like my TBRs and like what I actually read with their end ratings, but when it comes to writing reviews, keeping track of my TBR list, etc, 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 I do that through Fable. I love Fable for so many reasons. I've made so many videos about it, so you can go and look at that. But recently I found this one app that has been advertised on my Instagram, and it's called Pagebound. Pagebound seems to be a Y2K aesthetically themed book tracking app, and I found it really unique for a few reasons, and we're going to talk about it. The first thing that attracted me to Pagebound was the fact that it has a desktop format and a mobile app for both Android and iPhone. I personally love to go on a desktop version and sometimes really write out my reviews. I love to browse books through there. Of course, easy updating is the best through a phone. You know, you're out and about, you're reading on your Kindle, and you can update really fast an opinion, or if you are a certain percentage of the book, and I like that. But I think there's nothing like having in the background your desktop version. Like Goodreads has that as well. Fable does not, and that's something that to this day really bothers me. So that already gave Pagebound like a 1-up. Like I said before, it has like these Y2K vibes. It's really colorful. They have a different color aesthetic for whether something is on your TBR, whether you finished it, whether you paused the book, whether you DNF'd it. So while you're scrolling through their website, the books are highlighted in the color depending on where they are on your list, or if they're on your list at all. If they're not highlighted at all, they're not on your list in any of your categories. I really liked Pagebound because it really gamifies reading. Pagebound works on a point system. So when you first sign up, you write your book taste. You could upload your books either through Goodreads or Storygraph, and then from there, whenever you make certain updates, if you make a post to talk about a book, you get a point. If you add a book to your TBR, you don't really get points. You get the point once you finish the book. And then you also get up to 5 points on your review, depending on how much you fill out in the review section. So the review section has a whole bunch of categories. It has an overall rating, and it's a star rating, and you could do half stars. So it can go from 1 to 5 and then half stars in between. Then it has a star rating section for your enjoyment. It has a star rating for quality, what you thought about the characters. And then it has a rating for the plot, and then finally it has pick 3 emojis that you think would describe the book, and then you could write out your regular review. So there's a whole bunch of things that you could rate your book on. I am usually used to, I don't really like having so many categories. I don't rate all that. That's why I didn't like Storygraph. I felt like it had too many things to fill out, but you fill out what you want, and based on how much you fill out, you get different points on that. So it's kind of cool because the more points you get, the higher your level is, and it's just a cool badge to show off on your page. So then let's go into the way that books are sorted and how you could like socialize with people. So on Pagebound, you could obviously follow people, and there's multiple ways of doing that. You could base it off of books that are on your list, and they recommend other people who have similar book tastes as you, and that's super fun. Then also, when you are reading a book, you are allowed to post in a forum, and it's basically just a page for each book. Each book has its own forum page, and you could just write your own thoughts on that book. You could write the percentage you're on, if it's a spoiler or not, and you could just socialize with people there. Because if you wrote an opinion about, for example, Beartown, and you're like, oh, I think Beartown is great, but I really don't like this character, you could write it into that forum, and then other people, anyone who's reading that book or has had it on their list, it might pop up on their homepage. So your homepage is literally all people's posts from different things that are on your lists, and you could choose if you want to mute and not show certain books on your list or whatever. And when you go on your homepage, that's what's there. So it's people you follow and forum posts for books that you are interested in or have read, etc, etc. So I personally don't really use the forums that much. I haven't posted too much because I don't typically write my thoughts on the book as I'm reading. I usually just post my end thoughts at the end because I just feel like, I don't know, I don't really like to accidentally spoil things for people, so I avoid that. But you know what's cool about this is that they have a quest section. So there are a whole bunch of quests. So be like, I want to read more classical books. There is a quest line that you could follow, and it shows you a list of maybe 30 classical books, and they give you rewards, again, badges for each, not each book that you read. It's like if you read one book, you get the beginner badge. If you read 5 books, you get like a different badge. And then if you read 20 or 10 of them, you get the gold badge. Like they have different designs, and some of them have multiple badges, like not just 3. But it seems on their website that the majority of these quest lines have 3 badges depending on how many books you've read. And there's so many quest lines. You want to read more LGBTQ plus books, they have a quest line for that. You want to read more Latin books or books by Latinx authors, there is a quest line for that. There's a quest line for Black authors. There's a quest line for just fantasy or romantasy or reading just literary fiction. There's a quest line for everything you could think of. I have found so many quest lines on there, and it's really fun because it kind of guides maybe your reading if you're interested in a certain type of book. So that's pretty cool. When you look at your main profile, there's a whole bunch of information on there. So of course it has your reading level, how many points you have, how many people you're following, and how many people follow you. You could do a little bio, and you get to choose a cute little icon as your avatar. They have so many to choose from. Then when you scroll a little bit down, they have a section called My Taste, and this is where you could choose up to 5 books to be your all-time favorites that you want to show off when people go and look at your profile. They have a currently reading section where you can look at all the books that you are currently reading or what someone else is currently reading. They have an activity timeline which shows things that you've started reading, if you've reviewed something, if you have received a badge from a quest line that you have completed, etc., etc. If you have any thoughts that you've posted recently into a forum, it shows on your activity line. It also has a list tab, and I think it's if you want to show off certain lists that you've created. If you have like an all-time favorites tab, you could put them on that list, etc. I mean, I don't have any lists on there, but that's what you could do. And then finally they have a stats tab, and the stats tab shows all of the badges, achievements that you have received. It shows how many books you want to read in the year, and it shows all that, and then it shows every single book that you've read. There's not really that many stats yet, but again, this is a brand new app, so there's a lot of room for growth here. If you click on the reading tab, they have a library tab, and in the library tab you could organize your TBR. You could do a yearly TBR and a monthly TBR, and then it has the normal tabs, what you're currently reading, your TBR, your finished, your DNF, and then they have a section which I thought was really fun and unique, and it's called paused. And those are books that I guess you're not currently reading, you started but you just didn't finish, but it's not a DNF. And I like that. And then of course you can create your own shelves, which again you could add into the list section on your profile page. But I have an all-time favorites tab, and on Fable I currently have favorites based on genre as well, so I haven't gone into it in Pagebound, but you could go into all that. Then they have a discovery tab, and the discovery tab I think is really unique. So because you can review books based off of 3 emojis, they have a discovery tab where every day they show off an emoji and they show you books based off of that emoji at the top. So they have a, if the emoji of the day today is an easel or like a paint, that's what it was for today. They would show you books that people use that emoji to describe the book, and that's kind of cool. They also have a section where you could browse by emoji. So of course they have a featured emoji and they'll show you those books. But if you're in the mood for the devil face, you could literally click on browse by emoji and put the devil face on, and they will show you books that people categorized by that emoji. So that's like super unique, I thought. They also have in the discovery tab the books that were most discussed yesterday, so the things that people posted most about the day before. They have the books that were most finished yesterday in a tab, and they have the books that were most TBR'd the day beforehand. So you have multiple lists, and they obviously change daily, which is really fun. You could discover people based on your taste, again based on your favorite books. Then they have a discussion tab, and the discussion tab is kind of cool because Pagebound has created seasonal reading, and you get special badges if you read those books. So every season they give you 5 books, and you could choose to read one of them, all 5 of them. But it's kind of cool because people are discussing those books because that is what the website has highlighted. So they do have a fall reading right now, and there's a whole bunch of books on there, and usually they're really diverse, which I really enjoy because it's not just the same 5 books you see all over Book Talk or Bookstagram or YouTube. They're very unique. I think that there's some books on there that I'm like, wow, I recognize this book, but there's also a lot of books that I had to click on and read the summary, and I discovered some new books, which is really cool. I think that there was this one unique feature which I thought was really cool, and so in Goodreads and in Fable I actually have a separate shelf for my owned books, and I've been slowly like updating that. But in Pagebound you could actually, when you add a book to any of your lists, you could write that you own it, and so you could sort books based on owned. So if you're like, I want to look at all the finished books that I've read that I own. There's like a little filter for you to click and just look at your owned books in any category. And I think that's really helpful because if you're trying to figure out what to read next, for example, but you only want to look at the books that you've owned or you own and not just all the books that you're interested in reading, especially me, I have like over 1,300 books on my TBR, but I don't own that many books. It's kind of cool to be able to filter out the books that you own. There's certain things that I like that Fable does more, and there's certain things that I really enjoy that Pagebound does more, and I just want to go into those really quickly. So Fable does quarter stars, and I really like that. I like the fact that it has a spice level for romance, or in general for all books, it has a spice bar. I also like, it's something that I saw in Storygraph as well. They have like a whole bunch of identifiers for a book, so you could write if the book has good character development. You can click on these little tags, and they have so many options when it comes to plot, when it comes to characters, and this one doesn't. And again, I'm not one to fill out all of these identifiers because when it comes to rating, I kind of just want to remind myself of a book, and so usually I just do a rating and I write a blurb about my thoughts really quickly. But I know a lot of people who do like to give all that information, and so I feel like it's kind of cool just to have that as an option for people who enjoy that. Another thing that I think Fable does really well is the book club sections. I think the chapter by chapter breakdown just works so much better than the forum section, because in the forum it has all of the percentages kind of all mixed up, but in Fable you could literally just look at that specific chapter that you're on and see people's thoughts on that chapter. I think it's just a little bit easier to socialize with people too, because if you are looking specifically at like the book section, you don't have to talk, like you don't have to, I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to specifically see your thoughts and see other people's thoughts when it comes to that section in the book and not accidentally get a spoiler or something you just don't want to see. I also think that the homepage for Fable works a little bit better because Pagebound is only book posts specific to a book. So you can't just write a post and it's not attached to a book. Like this one, Fable, you could write like, oh, I just want to show off my bookish corner, or I want to send you a picture of my pet while I'm reading. And like they're usually still bookish themed, but they also like, they're not necessarily connected to a specific book always, and I feel like that's kind of fun because it feels a little bit more personable, and I like that. Things that I like on Pagebound more, there's a few things. First and foremost, they have a way better database than Fable does. Fable has so many repeat books. Fable sometimes still doesn't find the book if you write the whole title plus the author, it's like lagging still, while Pagebound finds the book that you want immediately. Even like really new releases, I think that's where Fable tends to struggle if they're a newer release. I also feel like Pagebound feels really fresh. It doesn't feel like a copycat of any other book tracking app. It feels totally unique to itself. I've never found a book app that has the gamifying. I've never seen the owned section. I think Storygraph actually has an owned where you could like check it off that you own it, but I like the way the profile is. I like my taste. I like that it just feels fun and fresh, and it just feels not like work. It's just like really nice. I mean, I don't think Fable feels like work. I really genuinely enjoy Fable a lot, but I do wish that it had the desktop version. I do like the badge system. I like the quest line to really try to encourage you to try to read other books, and sometimes you don't really know where to start. Sometimes you're like, I want to read more literary fiction. Where do I start? And it's kind of cool because they have a quest line where they have a whole list of books that belong in that category that are really popular that someone who might not read that genre might not know. So I do like that, and I think that this app just encourages reading overall. I like that the app is exactly the same on iPhone as it is on Android. There isn't really too many things. I like that the founder is also really open with us. She gives us an announcement like every week or every 2 weeks with new things she wants to add, new things she wants her opinion on, and it really feels like you're involved in the building up of this brand new app. Overall, I am so impressed with Pagebound. I mean, I have tried Storygraph for about a year and I ended up letting it go because I didn't love it. I have not really used Goodreads that often either. I use it sometimes just to update my books because for moments like this where I have to upload my books onto a new site, it's easier if my Goodreads is updated, but I don't really do reviews on there anymore. I just mark off what I've read before. My main book tracking app is currently Fable, so using Fable almost every day, it's kind of fun to look at something really different and fresh and see where it goes. I personally recommend Pagebound. I don't know if I like it more than Fable, but they're different. So maybe if you don't like Fable, maybe try this one out. Maybe try both and see which one you like more. But I definitely will have my eyes on this website and see if it improves with time or what happens with it. But yeah, have you guys tried Pagebound? Please let me know down below your thoughts, your opinions, and if you think you would try it out or if you're currently using it, because maybe there's certain things I just missed. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.